Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Jess Leal in this incarnation. So today I'm gonna tell you about how I moved on from anxiety, because there are many people that are experiencing this. They are suffering from this. So I'm gonna tell you how I moved on from anxiety without taking any medication, because I didn't tell you in the videos that are recorded before, but I've been working in institutions from the healthcare system for a lot of years before I started to serve to the consciousness. So I know exactly how the system function and how they want you to be on dependence of the pharmaceutical medicine. Pharmaceutical industry, it's a big lie and they don't want us to heal. So I'm gonna tell you how I did this. There were two big moments with anxiety. One was in 2013 and the other one was months ago. So the last one was the like the closure that I need to understand why anxiety comes to us. Okay, the first one was when I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, who was a narcissist. I told you already in the video of my story. That was a very toxic relationship. I was undergoing violent physical violence, of course verbally too, and well, that was like the toughest moment of my life. So I was very young, and this was like 10 years ago. Exactly. So when we broke up, days after that, I experienced what we call a panic attack. I thought it was an AVC. I don't know how do you call it, but it's like I felt like a numbness in my face. So I thought I was dying. I am telling this because many people think that they are experimenting a heart attack, but that was not my case. I always thought about this numbness in my face or hands, and that's because adrenaline and the state of fear that activates with panic attacks or anxiety comes from sudden fear, a sudden activation of this state of fear, but we are not actually living a situation like this, and that's why it's very uncomfortable, and we don't know what is happening, at least the first times. Okay. If you can't understand, you're gonna tell me in comments. Sorry again for my English, but I'm trying. Okay. So I experienced this, and I was in a with friends that day. So they took me to the hospital because I was telling about symptoms that were connected with AVC. So when I was in the hospital, they got that what I had was anxiety, but the nurse that was with me was like she asked me if I had any drugs, and I didn't. So I tell her that I didn't. I wasn't a drug addict. I told you in the video of my story, it happened, but it happened for 3 months of my life. I I wasn't a person that it was I don't know, that into drugs. And that day I well, alcohol is a drug, and alcohol was difficult for me. But that day I didn't take alcohol even. So this person didn't believe me, and she told me that if I continued that way, I was going to die. So she like seed the fear of dying, instead of tell me that I was experimenting anxiety and nothing was going to happen to me. So that's the system. This is part of the system. So the day after, of course, I experienced the same thing, the same exactly thing, but I went to another hospital, and in this another hospital, I was attended by a woman, psychologist, that was very very young, and she explained to me what anxiety actually was. So that was like a great relief for me, because when you do know that you are not going to die, you're relieved. So in both occasions, they give me the typical pill, the typical pill that they give you, and I always was like I don't feel like taking medicine. I don't like it, even if I have a headache or something like that. I always try to cure myself with another things, like breathing, taking water, oils, I don't know, another alternative things. So I did take that pill because I was so afraid that the panic attack would come back, and it came back, of course, because when we have fear of something, it's probably that fear manifests, and I don't mean that if we have fear of dying, we're gonna die, but what feeds anxiety is the thought of a state in that way for too long, or that the sensation will come back. That's what the fear feeds anxiety too. So I went to the house of a sister of life, a person who I was raised with, and she received me in her house. She was a recently mother, so I went to know her children, and in that place I discovered something, because I was with anxiety, and in the dinner we were like with her husband, and we were talking, and I started to feel like I was going to have a panic attack. So I was with my pills, which I carried with me everywhere, because that gave me the securance feeling, you know. I was feeling safe if I got them in my bag. So I started to feel that the panic attack was coming. So I took that pill, and this is what I discovered. I felt immediately relieved. The pill wasn't wasn't even like in my body. It was like 15 seconds after, and it was like totally okay after taking the pill. So in that moment I discovered that it was a placebo, that I could control the feeling with my mind. So I immediately dropped that pill, because I took it for I don't know, 3 days more. In the whole situation, it was like 1 week, but I didn't like it, and I felt like I don't know, a very weird feeling, like I was I don't know, like I wasn't present, you know. I didn't like the feeling of that pill. And I knew a lot of people, I had friends at that time that was with anxiety for years, and taken that pill for years too. And when I read the prospect, the prospect said that you can take that pill for more than 1 year in a continually I don't know how can I say it, but in a frequent way, you know. And it was like everybody take it, everybody takes it, and I think nobody reads this. So I quit that pill, and then I developed like a control method, which wasn't the cure. And I tell you why. Because I at that time I worked in a healthcare center with many specialties. I don't know how can I say, many types of medicine, occidental medicine. So I have the symptoms of anxiety when I was, I don't know, I was like attending the phone, and suddenly I felt that I was going to have an AVC. So I went to the bathroom, and I started to take, if I was dying, like raising my hands and moving my tongue. I was doing like I don't know, I was doing this like 4 times per day in my job. So I couldn't live that way because I was controlling, but I was resisting the actual cure. So of course, one day that was like the breakthrough. I was so bad, in such a bad state, that my mouth, I don't know the name, but this part was like almost paralyzed of the tension, and I couldn't like open my mouth. And I was in public at that time. We have like a rotative job, you know. I was in one place, and then the other day that changed. So I was like talking in public, and I couldn't open my mouth. So I was like desperate, and they sent me to a doctor of the place, and they gave me the pill, the pill that everybody gives, and so I said no, I'm not going to take this. And he like manipulated me. It was I love this doctor, but he was a good person, but I think many people think that what they learned in universities are all the truth, and it's not. We have to question everything right now, from here and on. So I said no, and he said, oh, well, you don't want to get better, and I was like, what is he telling me? and I said no, I'm not gonna take this, and they didn't send me home. I was like cracking down, but they didn't send me home, and they didn't send me home. Okay, so I started to go to an alternative alternative therapy because I cracked down at that time. So I started family constellations and biodic. I don't know how can I say it in English, but I will put it on here and with words. I started that, and in 4 sessions I dropped the symptoms. I didn't have them anymore. And it's important to say that I went to psychological therapy when I was a little girl for like 3 years of my life, 3 or 4 years, and then I tried to come back when I was a teenager during during the this relationship with the narcissist, but it didn't last much, and I tried to come back once more, but that wasn't effective for me. I really felt that I was like depending on that, and there's never a cure, with psychological therapy. It's like you have to go forever. So I'm not saying that psychological therapy doesn't work at all, but I think they are not integrating soul and spirit. So it is an incomplete therapy, and I think psychologists have to integrate a lot of things in order to take their therapy in a complete way. I think any therapy which doesn't integrate soul is it's functional right now. We have to transcend with our consciousness the beliefs of this system. And I don't know, my experience was that I cure myself with other therapies, and that's only the things, the therapies that worked out. So at that time I discovered that all the things that were pushing me, all the anxiety was about all my past and all the unresolved things that I had to confront. That was the start of my healing journey. So I did realize how much trauma I was carrying with my mother, with my father, with everything. It was like the open door to heal. So many years later, I didn't experience anxiety anymore. Maybe one time, but it was I really cured myself at that time. I keep going 4 sessions or 3 sessions more, but then I cure myself. So when this year, when I started to experiment all this connection with my guides, and well, I experimented many things, that were like new to me and that were shocking. I was in this path, in this new path, and in October, during the eclipses, eclipse. I don't know how. Bueno, I will put it down there too. It was the eclipse of Scorpio. Yeah, and in Scorpio, so I started to feel anxiety like that time. I felt it very, very strong. I was like, it was like 7 days from being totally disconnected from Earth, because that's what's going on when we have anxiety. We disconnect from the Earth, so we feel like we are floating. We feel like we are outside of our bodies. And that intense fear of everything, it comes from there. So I was like, what is happening to me? What is happening? What is happening? So I knew that my soul was trying to say something, because that was the experience before, but it wasn't about like healing, because I did a lot of work about that. I changed so many things, so I didn't know what was going on. And then I communicate with my guides through dreams and through channelizing. But I was like very blocked, because when we lower your vibration in depression or anxiety, you are more like propense to have psychic attacks. So all the negative thoughts that comes with with anxiety are actually dark entities. So I couldn't like focus myself. I couldn't use my channel, and one day my mother, my mother is a medium. She can contact like death souls that are incarnated anymore, and she it's like a channel to everybody. Everybody is actually, but we there's many people who has this more like has more contact with these things, and simply developed this in a more like fluid way. I don't know if I said that correctly, but my mother told me that I had to drop music and start something new, and I didn't believe her, because I was in denial. I've been creating music. I've been playing music for many years, and I really thought that was my purpose, like serving the consciousness. I tried other ways. I tried with astrology. I tried with music, and it was like, I don't know what to do. So one day in a dream, they explained me why everything was happened to me, and so I started to record these videos in my Spanish channel. So I understood that when anxiety comes, it's there's two reasons why that is happening to us. The first one is because you have a lot of things to clean. You have a lot of things from the past that you are not seeing, and you have to deal with. And the other thing is that it's because you're not in the path you're supposed to. So your soul only finds that way because it's the only way you're gonna pay attention, So that's why we experiment, we can suffer anxiety. And the only way to cure this, to really move on, we don't need pills, actually. We don't need it. It's to hear the call of the soul. Maybe it's because you have to really dig in your ancestral trauma and find whatever you have to find, or maybe you are in a path that it's not good for you. Maybe it's a relationship or a job, I don't know, many things could be, but you have to change. You have to change. So I'm telling this because I think many people are suffering from this right now because they are disconnected from the higher dimensions of their souls. So they maybe don't understand that they can keep going on with that job, or they can keep going on with that relationship or that attitude. I don't know. It's gonna be different for everyone, but that's the main reason. And that's the only way to really heal. So I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you, everybody, and please tell me in comments if something it's not clear. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.